Hello, I'm and welcome back to the episode of my Minecraft Xbox Updated Adventures Let's Play. This is the Let's Play where I'm playing through the various updates that have come out for Minecraft on the Xbox, building stuff, killing stuff, and of course, destroying stuff. And in today's episode, I'm actually going to be doing something that is one of my favorite bits of Minecraft, but that I usually don't get to do, which is kind of exploring and adventuring and really taking advantage of the fact that Minecraft has a huge world, because as you might know if you watched yesterday's Seed Sunday, I not only found an infinite mineshaft seed, but I basically proved that every seed has infinite mineshafts on it somewhere. And I decided, you know what, to really prove this is pretty much every seed, I'm going to type in the seed for my Let's Play world, which if you are curious, is everything. And we're going to see if even in this pure survival world that's been going since 2012, because it's now on Bedrock, any unloaded chunks should therefore have the same issues as all the rest of Bedrock. And given that since, I think it's Bedrock 1.2, the beta together update, there has been some form of infinite mineshaft issue, that means if I go far enough away, I will find myself some infinite mineshaft. So before we dive into anything else, I just want to prove for anyone who's new here, this is in fact pure survival. Here's the proof. Like if you check the settings, like it doesn't say like, oh, you know, the creative flag isn't on there. And also you can see how like there's the seed. It's everything, but you know, that's why I typed in all those years ago, but converted into numbers. If you type all of those numbers or just everything into the chunk-based calculator, you'll find out that at 16,000 blocks away from spawn, or 16,400 roughly blocks away from spawn, you're gonna find yourself some like combination of two sets of infinite mineshafts. They're not quite perfectly infinite, like there's gaps between them, but in theory, because mineshafts are quite big, they should connect up in some way. It just might be tricky. So in today's episode, we're hopefully going to be finding an infinite mineshaft in my Let's Play world, because we don't know if this bug will be fixed soon or ever, but I feel like it's one of those things where like, because it's something kind of fun they found, and a lot of people feel like they want to have fun with it, and we might even do a whole series, like just on the seed with the pure infinite one. I think because it's such a goofy thing, I wanted to at least have some record of it in the Let's Play world, so we're going to go over there now. We're going to make a proper record using, you know, like I guess by just loading it in, and in the meantime, we're going to talk about what I've been up to this week and some controversial thoughts, because yeah, during the Let's Play, it's not only about like, you know, playing the Minecraft, but it's also about what's been going on the past week and various other things. It's like an update on the Toy Cat life, so hopefully you care about that some amount, because I've been having actually a surprisingly good week, in case you are curious. It's been going, you know, really well. I guess, you know, like it's my first like proper week making videos, and I always miss videos when I go away. Like a lot of YouTubers get to the stage where they make videos every day until they literally burn out to the stage where they would rather do anything besides make videos again, which is terrible. When you love something, you shouldn't get to the stage where you hate it. You know, it's the same way. Like if you're you know, like I don't know, date a girl, if you spend every waking moment with that person, or man, or you know, whoever you date, if you date a person and you spend every waking moment with that person, eventually you're gonna spot some things that you don't like, or you're gonna force yourself to go through some problems. Like everything in excess is a problem, and I don't know how people don't realize that doesn't apply to even YouTube or whatever. So like whenever I take a break though, it's so cool when I get back into it, and it's like, oh man, yeah, I like, it's fun being creative and, you know, like coming up with fun ideas and, you know, stuff like that. And it seems a lot of you have enjoyed that as well, so thank you for all the recent success. I guess things are you know, like on YouTube generally, like channels have like a boom then a bust, and it seems like we're going for a second wind. It's quite happy, but that's not enough talking about the YouTube channel. I'm sure you either care about it or you don't, and that's kind of unrelated to all of this. So let's talk about the other kind of, you know, interesting thing I did this week, because I met my second channel editor. If you don't know, I'm really bad at editing videos. The reason, so I actually edit like 5 videos a week. You can see how this Let's Play, notice how there's no editing. It might have even had like a fun fact sphere pop up with nothing in there, because, you know, that's just, you know, I'm not very good at editing. It's a thing I'm not good at, and also I really hate it. Like, maybe it's because I'm bad at it. Like, I think most humans have this affinity to do things they're good at, as opposed to bad at, right? Like, that seems to be the case for a lot of people. Like, some people enjoy things they're bad at, but that's like the exception rather than the rule, or the exception that proves the rule, if you will. Whereas personally, I've also, to get to 16,000, we have to go about 2,000 blocks in the nether. I'm not just sprinting 16,000 blocks a day, don't worry. But yeah, I think people naturally like the things that they're good at, and personally, I just don't think I'm very good at editing, and also, it just isn't a fun, like, you know, I don't get that, like, fulfillment from it most of the time. I think recently, like, goofing around with, like, throwing the Soviet flag or the British flag in there, I don't know why, but that gives me creative fulfillment. I don't know what's wrong with me to make that the case, but, like, yeah, I'm not great at editing, so I have a editor for the main channel, and I decided recently, like, you know, I'll try this on the second channel. Like, it won't make money, like, I probably lose money in the end, like in the grand scheme of things. I really handled that fire poorly. But I probably lose money in the grand scheme of things too, you know, paying for that. But it's like one of those things that to me, at least, is kind of worthwhile because in exchange I make better videos, which hopefully more people will find on the IBX2Cat channel. So that's the kind of plan there. But I met the editor in person and yeah, it was actually a really cool dude. I'm always... I find it so interesting to meet people you've never met before besides online or even if you haven't met them online, like, oh yeah, they know me from some online work because, you know, I've met a few subscribers in like New Zealand, Singapore, a few countries around the world like that. If you know, like, it's interesting to meet people who know you or that, you know, like where you vaguely know each other, almost like blind date, but like friends or like just, I guess, people in general. There's something so interesting about that, and yeah, so it was actually a really fun dude. There's a lot of, you know, like interesting things. And also, you know, London's a great city to meet anyone in, even if they're a serial killer or whatever. But yeah, today I wanted to talk about controversial opinions, not what I've been up to this past week. Although it has been a pretty good past week. A really good past week, in fact. Like, you know, I think, you know, like, so that if I have a bad week next week, I can put it in context. This has been like, I don't know, I just feel, everything just feels good and right and proper, etc. And that's a great place to be. Like, there's a few stresses of like, oh yeah, well, ataxia just came, which means now I've got to deal with like, I don't know, like incorporation documents or something soon. And oh yeah, we've also gotta work out like, you know, like I've been doing some skill set sponsorships and like they've got a really weird like legal system for input. There's like a lot of weird like background stuff that I'm just like ignoring if I don't like it. Which is really great. Like, here's the great thing, right? If you don't want to do something and you ignore it, that's a great solution for the first, like, 2 weeks or until the deadline of that thing. That's the perfect solution. I guess that's why everyone ignores homework or whatever, right? Because, you know, up until the point where you need to deliver your homework and you don't have it, the perfect solution is just not to do it. And then at that point is when it becomes a bad idea. So yeah, that's a thing that I'm just going to put off and deal with in the future, which sounds like terrible life advice, and it actually is in this case. But it's just one of those things where, like, you know, I'm having a great time otherwise. I'll deal with this when I just get in a mood where I maybe want to do that. So yeah, I'm putting off some things, and we'll see if that bites me later down the line. You'll see in, I guess, next week's episode. But I wanted to talk about controversial opinions today. Well, I find roughly 2050. I guess we want to go down because we want to try and spawn inside the mineshaft if at all possible. So 2050 and then 0 is roughly what we should find, because it's meant to be 0 and then 16,400. So yeah, if we go right here and then we make our portal start here, and that can be like the center. Yeah, we'll just make it like 5 blocks wide or something. We've got enough obsidian. I have so much obsidian, by the way. I just need to re-mention this as like a, it's almost like a problem. It looks like I have a genuine like obsidian problem, but it's fine. I don't worry about that. Anyway, so let's talk about some controversial opinions, because I recently mentioned something in a video. I said something that is apparently not an okay thing to say, and a lot of people wrote it off as a joke, sort of, or like, oh yeah, what a quirky thing to say, Toy Cat. And I probably could just like leave it that way, and a lot of people would just be happy with it. Okay, so we've spawned all the way up here, which is bad because I was hoping we'd spawn underground, and now we just have to dig down from literally, wait, how many blocks is it away? Yeah, oh, it's because we've got water in front of us. Oh, there's berries here. Oh, that's exciting. Should we use these for something? You know, next episode will probably be about berries now, apparently. How exciting. What a fun little quirky little side note. But yeah, basically, I said something and a lot of people wrote it off as a joke, but it's got a little bit of truth to it. Maybe I said it in a jokey way and that kind of helped things. And I figured, like, okay, the smart thing to do here is just to like, oh yeah, that, never mention it again and like kind of deal things that way. But I feel like, you know, instead whoa. Not okay, man. Okay, are we safe in here? We're safe in here. But oh, we need a bucket of water. This is not safe otherwise. Pro tip, when digging down, always bring a bucket of water. You never know when it's going to save you. Okay, well, apparently not. So this is the mineshaft that is found at 0, 1425, 16, 40, 25, and theoretically this should go infinitely. Or not, yeah, like, not infinitely in the sense that, like, there's an infinite series of them going on for, like, literally millions of blocks. It's an exciting thing, and I want to see if that's actually true. So we're going to dig around this place a little bit, just kind of see what's going on in all the little corners, because this is a curiosity. We have a maybe infinite mineshaft. But yeah, I said, I basically said, actually, we'll go through some other controversial thoughts first, because let's just make this all about things that I think are controversial, because I have this really bizarre thought that basically when your order is wrong, it's not always a bad thing. It's a bad thing in that they didn't do their job correctly, and maybe you can be mad about that. If you're going on like, oh yeah, this is my birthday restaurant, and like, you know, like there are some situations where you can be mad at the wrong order. But whenever I've gotten the wrong order in my life, and it's only been like a few times, so maybe it's a consistent problem and you can be mad about that. But like whenever I've been to a place where I've got the order wrong, or it was recently on a plane, that's where this is all going to loop around to, I've always thought, you know, this is actually kind of an opportunity to try something new. Like it's really hard to know what you'll like in a new food, especially if you don't have someone who's tried it before. Like if your dad recommends, like you know, or your nan or whoever you're with is like, oh yeah, you gotta try the chicken here. It's really good. They jerk it in a green sauce, and it's really great that way, because that's what your nan sounds like. Sorry. But like if like, oh gosh, man, there are mobs in here. I forgot that this is survival Minecraft. Oh, and there's lava too. How nice. But yeah, like I feel like, okay, yeah, recommendations are hard to come by. So when you get the wrong food, it's basically an opportunity to try something wrong. Like basically error-free, right? Because you try it, you give it a few bites. If you like it, well, you know, maybe if it's like less expensive, you could tell them and they can reduce your bill. You try it, you go for a few bites. If you like it, heck yeah, you found a new thing you liked. And if you don't like, oh, we're trapped in here, aren't we? And if you don't like it, then you can go and be angry. Like I've always thought, like the moment something wrong comes to you, that could be a blessing in disguise that you're you know, you're just writing off as terrible right there. And it's always like, I guess not annoying me, but it's always been a little bit confusing. Also, we're gonna pick up so many rails here. I'm gonna try not to abuse this too much, but yeah, there is an infinite amount. Oh no! I want to keep this up. There is an infinite amount of mineshaft here, and the reason. Okay, so here's the crazy thing about this. But this mineshaft that is infinite has existed in Minecraft forever now. Like this is a thing that has been around since the Better Together update. It's just they usually exist so far away from spawn. You know, this is 16,300 blocks. That they exist so far away from. Oh, I can hear some creeper noises. I wonder where I heard those from. Oh, like gas noises. Sorry, but they usually exist so far away from spawn that people just don't usually find them, and that's crazy to me that a thing this big, a issue this large. So we want the numbers to go on opposite sides, which they are. An issue this large, look at this craziness, has been around since literally 2 years ago, and I think there's been a few reported cases here and there, but the fact that just it wasn't found by most people, because most people don't go 16,000 blocks, is crazy to me. It shows, oh god, okay. It shows just how, I guess, like, you know, there really is, like, different categories of Minecraft player, and I guess maybe the people who play, like, extreme survival are just less common than I thought. Maybe it's less common on Bedrock, maybe there's some magic there. But yeah, it's wild to me that this exists, an infinite mine. Like you can see, it's lots of different mine shafts by just how much they're crossing over each other. Like these are clearly two separate mine shafts, not the same one. And yeah, it's kind of wild and crazy to me that now it's gone through a mine shaft, at least partially, I think. So yeah, crazy stuff, bizarre stuff, interesting stuff, and now you get to see it. And although it looks like the ravine is cutting off, so we're gonna try and cut through here. Grab another chest. We're not going to loot everything right now, because I feel like that's kind of cheesing things a little bit. Like, again, I don't know if we should count all of this loot as, like... I think it counts as legit, because we had to do a lot of finding to get here. Also, we had to do a lot of walking. And also, it's pretty far away, and also somewhat hard to traverse all the stuff here. But I'm not going to loot it just now, because I don't want to be like, oh yeah, well, later they'll prove that it really was a really problematic glitch that they just found, and they're going to fix it ASAP. Like, I don't want to, like, again, take any real advantage of it until... you know, like, again, I think we should all collectively, maybe as a community, work out, like, is it okay to just loot all these chests? Because there probably is, like, dozens of stacks of iron across all of them. There's dozens of stacks of rail. There's all these things that are actually useful that would save me a lot of time in here. In fact, even just the ores around here, right? If we ignore the chests, which come with some free rail, which is nice, but if we ignore the chests even, just looking around at, like, oh yeah, look at all the coal, and look at all the iron, and we'll probably find some diamonds if we're lucky too. All these things are probably going to be found around here because of the fact that it's such a, you know, like, again, when you have so much cave dug out for free, even the mine shaft is nice, but the cave that comes along with it is nice too. Like, look at all this iron ore. There's so much to be gotten in here, and I think that's kind of crazy. But yeah, I want to go back to my proofs point. Also, some gold. Should we take it? We're going to take it. Oh, projectile protection. My favorite. I'm lying about the books. So yeah, basically, while we move away from that thing, I think getting the wrong food is like something that is actually a good thing. I think it's not necessarily that you should want the wrong food to come, but when it happens, like it's happened, you know, someone made a small mistake. The way people deal with it, like again, mostly from TV shows, but I've seen it in real life a few times. People freak out, and it's like, man, like, you know, I get like you're paying money, and therefore as part of that you want to be in control or whatever. But like, you know, this was an honest mistake someone made. Might as well try and turn it into, might as well like try and deal with it before assuming it's a bad thing. Or I could be wrong. Maybe I've just not had the perfect wrong food experience yet. Maybe it shows like the lack of caring there, shows lack of caring somewhere else. I don't know for sure. But yeah, I had a really interesting situation with this because it happened recently. I was on a plane, and this is probably like a language barrier thing. But I asked for cold green tea, because green tea is a big thing in Japan. They do it cold in a lot of places where I guess it wouldn't be appropriate to be hot. So I asked for some cold green tea on my plane back, and they're like, okay then. And they give me a slightly weird look, and it's like, okay, I'm sorry. I didn't realize cold green tea was a weird thing to ask for at this point in the flight. But, you know, they're very service-orientated, so they just go ahead and do it anyway. And then she comes back with a cup full of definitely not cold green tea. It was very much warm, and it was soup of some form, like a beef soup, if I had to guess, like maybe a consomme or something. I don't know what it was for sure, but like I thought this was like a bad thing. But the cold green tea, I wasn't enthusiastic about it. I was just being healthy. This beef soup or whatever probably was also healthy, but was amazing. Like soup on a plane is the future. Like when you're offered a drink on a plane, ask for soup. Maybe they'll give it to you, because that's revolutionized my airplane game. You might think like, oh, you fly so much, you must know what's going on. I mean, in a lot of cases, I didn't know about the soup racket we had going on though, apparently. That is something where now I am more informed, and I think that's kind of fun. So, yeah, controversial opinion number 1 is that. Controversial opinion number 2 is probably, you know, I guess a bit more serious, but I think people, in the same way, I think, oh, man, I do not like cave spiders. But I think controversial number 2 here is probably going to be like, I think that people who expect like perfect service, especially from like, let's say not everywhere. Like again, if you're spending hundreds or thousands on something, okay, you should expect someone to be polite and care about what you're doing. But you know, like at McDonald's or something, like it doesn't matter what quality the service is to me. Like I think being angry about service quality is one of those weird things where like you want people to lie to you. If you want good service, what you're really saying is, I want someone who clearly does not care about what they're doing to pretend they care about what they're doing, so I feel better about it. I've always thought like, nah, that shouldn't be expected from anyone. Like it basically is in a lot of places. Should we take the diamond? We'll take the diamond, I guess, and the torch. But yeah, you can see how this will really go on forever and ever and ever, and we can get lots and lots and lots of stuff. Free chests forever, I think. Although we haven't actually proven it's infinite because we ran into a dead end the other way, so maybe something went wrong there. But yeah, so I think that's a thing. And I also think, though, again, this is going to be a weird, like, double controversial opinion. Oh, actually, you know what? Maybe triple controversial opinion. But I think that if I was, like, doing a job, like, again, and even at, like, the lowest of, you know, like, the sort of places where you shouldn't expect service, according to what I just said. Even if I was working at Starbucks, I'd be enthusiastic about everything, because why not, right? Like, if enthusiasm is one, I mean, it's something everyone likes. Like, I really find enthusiasm cool, and like about anything. Like, again, I had someone at Starbucks recently. They were crazy into like, oh yeah, like drinks names sure are funny, and this, you know, they were into it, and I was like, yeah, this is what I'm talking about. Like, it made my experience slightly better, and therefore, you know, most people feel good when they make other people feel good. Why not implement that as part of like your work strategy? Probably, you know, helps with, you know, employment opportunities or whatever. But then also, I think the other thing I find interesting about it is that, oh, we're kind of trapped here. Yeah, I think up here is definitely the way forwards, but we have to get through some really weird stuff, it seems. But yeah, I think even though I just said like no one should expect like people to care all the time, again, it shouldn't be expected because it defeats the point. I think if I would be really enthusiastic about anything just for the sake of like, yeah, I want to you know, make people's days a bit better and make, you know, have and in the same way make my own day better as a result. Like if you don't feel like you're making a difference, every job is hell, right? Like it's a thing a lot of people forget, but you know, that there's a lot of there's a lot of meaning that can come from doing anything as long as you care about it. If you're the sort of attitude where you don't care about anything, then nothing's gonna seem like it cares about you. That's my kind of summary there. Also, I think that again, controversial opinion here, but I think women are objectively better at dealing with people than men are. I've said this before, but like, you know, having a, you know, girlfriend, as in like a girl hyphen friend, versus having a man hyphen friend is very much, oh, a boy, I guess it'd be boy, hyphen friend. But they're very much different, like, things, in my opinion. Like, there's different mechanics to how the things go down. And I think a part of that is that, you know, like, people objectively better at, like, being enthusiastic about insert random thing here, maybe service. Controversial opinion right there. Also, controversial opinion, I think, so this one's probably a bit worse than the previous ones. I think you should not be legally required to save someone. I've said this before, but it really makes me uncomfortable. Like, I don't know why I think this. I think I would try to save someone, but I don't like the fact that I think in a lot of states and certain countries make it so if you see someone dying and you don't try to save them, that is like, it's like assisted murder. Like, you get a few years in prison because, hey, that person died partly because of what you did there. Why did you do that? And, you know, it seems weird that I would defend not saving someone's life despite saying that I would. But it makes me so uncomfortable that, like, if I see someone drowning, I can't do something about it. I'm going to want to do something, but I have to, like... It's weird. The crisis in my head would be like, man, I have to... This person's clearly the one suffering more. But I have to deal with the guilt I'm going to feel forever about, like, oh, man, if I'd have just learned to swim, I could have saved this person and, you know, like, etc., etc. I'm going to be looking at them. They're going to be looking at me. Feeling like, yes, this person will save me any second. And I have to kind of, like, awkwardly explain, like, sorry, I can't swim. I can't actually save you. Like, I don't know, like, the idea of trying to save someone is, like, already kind of rough. And legally mandating something always makes me feel a bit like, but then, it makes me feel a bit uncomfortable about that. So, controversial opinion of Toy Cat. I think we should be allowed to let people die. And even though we really shouldn't, I also think we should be allowed to. Which is, again, it's one of those weird feelings, but that's why I guess it's a controversial thought. And that, I guess we'll use that to bring us into the last one here. The one I mentioned in the video. I want this to be at the end here because, you know, if you haven't been turned off by the first 10 minutes so far, I wanted to talk about something which is definitely not an okay point to mention. In the same way, like, you can't say that everyone should... you can't say that people shouldn't be expected to care about their jobs, because everyone should be expected to care about their job. You can't say that, you know, like, I don't know, women are better at service or at caring or attention or whatever, because, you know, like, oh, everyone should be good at that. But in the same way, I think that I said very offhandedly in a video, like, oh yeah, I've watched a few people die. Like, I said something like that. Just, I don't know why. I might have even meant it as a joke or something. But I had so many questions, like, so Toy Cat, did you just say that? Is that serious? Like, and I just kind of ignored them all, like, you're not... It's probably funnier just to let it, like, sit as a thing right there. But besides from the joke, I don't recommend this to anyone, because I think for most people, like, the psychological impact of watching someone die is going to be worse than the benefits that you might receive from any clip where someone dies in it, you know? Like, that's my controversy time at Toy Cat. But I think that it's really... I think that it's valuable on a personal level to see people die. And again, that's a sound clip right there that's sounds pretty terrible on the surface. But I think it's because if you ever listen to someone who's just been in a traumatic event, say a shooting, say something like that. Oh, the reason this was so controversial is because just before that happened, like after I recorded, but before it went uploaded, I think the Christchurch shooting had happened, and you know there were videos of it that are banned in New Zealand. I will, I guess, clarify that I have seen some of it for the sake of, again, what I'm going to get into, but like that it's really non-kosher now to talk about. Also, this is definitely infinite, right? We've been going on for so long. It's definitely not okay for the most part to talk about stuff like that, right? But I so again, whatever, it's a thing. But I think that one of the problems is when you see people who have just been in a traumatic event like that, their response is always, it was like I was in a movie, and they feel paralyzed because of it. When you see something for the first time, especially when it's traumatic like that you've never seen in real life. Like, we don't live in a world where you have to deal with death and etc., etc. on a regular basis. And it makes me worry about my survival rate. Like, again, for the most part, I don't, you know, I don't hugely care about my own safety on its own. Like, again, it's like, you know, if I'm the victim today, I'm the victim, well, whatever. But, like, whenever you care about someone, like, knowing that they would lose access to you, or in the case of YouTube, like, man, like, wouldn't it suck if my last video was just, like, I don't know, like a random Seed Sunday where I'm like, I'll see you next time, I've got an exciting video idea coming out this week, and then it never is. Like, I think that would be, like, rough. Like, I think I have an obligation for the people I care about to survive if I'm ever in a situation like that, and they're definitely not common. I'm never gonna be involved in a mass terrorism or mass shooting or mass anything incident, but I think at the same time, despite what I just said, people are really bad with dealing with it because you never see it. You only see it in movies. So when it happens, you feel like you're in a movie, and everything you don't get that like adrenaline rush. In a lot of cases, people just don't get that rush. They're just like, oh, it's a movie, and you feel this big what's it called when your two parts of your brain think different things. It's this big thing in your head where you feel like you feel like it's not real, and therefore you don't feel equipped to deal with it. And I think there's a lot of pro tips that I've I don't watch people die on a regular basis. I have watched a few videos of mass fires and mass shootings and stuff like that because I think the tips that we're given aren't the correct tips for dealing with them. So yeah, there we go. Now you know. I don't recommend. Don't look that stuff up. It's mostly like purged from the internet most places. Like it's always going to exist. You can always find it if you want to. But I think the reason I bring that up, the reason I say that, is because so the tips, for instance, I would have always thought the pro tip to surviving like a giant event is the police are coming any minute now, just hide in a pile of bodies, the shooter's gonna have to steal stuff, and then you see, again, in a clip of a certain recent thing, like, oh no, he shot all the bodies. So that advice that comes from movies, I think I saw it in, I've definitely seen it in at least a movie. Oh, guess what? That would have gotten me killed if I'd have followed my instinct, but now, having the knowledge in hand, I wouldn't have. And I think, yeah, that my controversial opinion is that we need to know that death is real. At least in the world we're in right now, I don't think we can ever truly get rid of terrorism, and there's always going to be one-off acts every now and then. And in the world where that's the case, giving people bad advice, which is the official advice I think from counter-terrorism police, at least in the last time I checked in the UK, was like run, hide, and then do it says like barricade yourself behind a door or something like that. And against in a lot of situations, that's not a smart move. Against a gun, it's not a smart move. But you might think that it is in the moment because it's the only thing you've been told. And yeah, I don't know, controversial opinion of Toycat. I think that watching people die is not inherently a bad thing. And I think the reaction to people about, again, some recent ones, but also in general, like, if you want to see a recording of a event that did happen, we know it happened, then I think that should be okay. I think that covering up events that like have no reason to be covered up is how you get people suspicious about conspiracy theories and stuff. Like, although maybe it's the other way around. Like the fact that they can't squash this or anything like that shows that. Well, I mean, if we can't get rid of this like horrific shooting, where if we can't get rid of that, then surely we can't have planned an insurance fraud on the two largest towers on Earth or something. Like, maybe that's the way people think. I don't know for sure. But yeah, I spoke about watching people die for way too long here. I just want to kind of mention, like, as a serious thing, that I don't recommend it. I really think, especially if you're young, like, it's got to do some damage to you if you're a young person. It might desensitize you the other way. But if you are ever concerned about surviving something like that, then, like, it helps to know what it looks like on the other side, I would say. Again, but maybe I'm crazy. Maybe this is a video that I'll have to pull. Maybe it's this is a thing you don't talk about on the internet. But yeah, I hope you all enjoyed it regardless. I hope you see that we do in fact have an infinite mineshaft here. That's a handy thing to know. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get myself out of here by making a portal somewhere in here, I guess. So I guess at the end of... We'll find the end of a hallway somewhere. We'll make a portal. And then I'll just show you, like, even though we've traveled all this distance, in portal form, it'll be really small. Which will be fun to see, in my opinion. So yeah, let's hop up over there. Let's place a thing at the very end here. Also, I just want to kind of mention, like, so I have a lot of subscribers and friends in New Zealand, and it's been like having something really bad happen for a really small community, like a really small country, really. It's almost like one big community. It's something that, like, I can't even imagine or begin to properly emphasize with, but it's something where I just wanted to say at the end here, like, if you're in New Zealand and you felt that sucks, I agree. We're on the same page, that killing people is bad, regardless of why you... Really, it was so close to the other one, it just went to the same portal? That's absurd. Well, we did all that for nothing, apparently. We got the coordinates, though, so we can, I guess, do it from the surface and then dig down from there. I guess that's how we'll have to do things. We'll have to hook things up that way. So yeah, we got some berries. Next episode, we'll probably do something to do with these berries. And we've also got a lot of stuff we got to deal with. I hope you all enjoyed this episode of the Minecraft Xbox Update Adventures Let's Play. Actually, you don't. I want things to kind of calm down, like, rather than ending on a particularly dramatic note. let's end on a happy note. So, the next trip I'm doing, because a lot of people ask, like, so you just got back, but you know, you're always traveling, so where are you traveling next? So this weekend I'm traveling to Budapest, but like, it's in Europe, it's only a 2.5-hour flight, so I'm sure most people are like, well, I mean, but like, you know, crazy places, you know? So I'm going to Taiwan, Taipei, in June, and I'm flying Air China, and I wanted to, again, this is, I guess, controversial opinion by itself, but I decided to fly with them purely because my brother flew with them recently, and it was like, it was the worst airline I ever flew. And I've always had this opinion of like, besides Lion Air, which, by the way, it was horrendous, not because of bad customer service or bad anything like that, but it was literally filthy, and literally the staff were not just impolite, rude, like straight up they pushed past me to get through immigration, like, you know, stuff like that. Like, okay, that was bad. Also, they crashed a plane. That's a pretty damning mark on the record. Don't fly Lion Air, mate, by the way. That's my pro tip. But yeah, so besides like a situation like that. Also, I think I've lost the main pathway. We got a long way to go. We need to work out our way back. But yeah, basically I'm flying Air China because my brother said they were the worst, and I bet it can't be so bad. So I'm flying Air China. You have a video. It's actually gonna be again, it's gonna be a really fun version of the plane. Like I think I'm flying like their oldest plane and then their newest plane. Yeah, I'm always curious about the difference between like people always think one airline is the same experience all the time. No, the plane determines so much. Like I love flying Delta from the UK, where you know they fly their huge, you know, A330s and 67s. Actually, they fly big planes, is what I'm saying. But if you're flying like on a regional 45-minute flight, I bet that flying Delta it's not better than flying any of the other airlines, but it might even be worse. I don't know for sure. I flew with them for 4 hours and it was way worse than the 7-hour flight there. My point here is just like flying on an airline for one flight. That an airline having a reputation really means nothing because they're so different on each plane, and I don't know. It's a thing that I think about, and maybe you can think about it too. Or maybe you can just enjoy this video, which I hope that you did. You can like it if you did like it. You can share if you really liked it. You can subscribe when you're around here. And I hope you all enjoyed seeing my infinite mineshaft. Maybe it encourages you to check out yours. If it doesn't, then I guess. Goodbye regardless. Oh wait, that's not a proper outro. Goodbye. Man, I'm sick.